it's a scary thing to like pick up and move to a town when you're in your 20s and, and go, oh, I'm going to try to find, So I think that eliminates a lot of would-be, writers and, singer-songwriters and stuff. So I think that is the first thing you got to do. I still think you got to do that. I still think there are go Da Vinci to now. All these things have, whether it's the Renaissance period or whatever, great art has broken out when creatives get together in places on the globe, and those places become hotbeds for creativity, whether it's painting or music or whatever, right? Nashville has been one of those for years. And I say that to say, I still think you have to go to where it's happening. I mean, there are plenty of people that, you can make music anywhere, obviously now, but I think there's something to going to where that energy is in the air, right? So I think you got to do that. And then I think that it's probably pretty quick that somebody realizes whether they're going to stick it out or not. And so and the other thing that happens is you're probably a big fish in a little pond in your hometown, right? Oh man, all my friends in high school, I was the guy that, played and sang and, and so you think you're great until you get to a place like Nashville or LA and you realize, oh, geez. And so then you either cut bait and go home, or you go, okay, I'm never going to be the greatest keyboard player or the greatest guitar player. But I know I've got this in me. What's my strength?
Yeah, take inventory.
For me, it was writing. And so I felt like that's where I could make my way. And so then you just,
Well, I think so many times you hear the success story, like the tail end of the struggle and then the success story.
Right.
Or you hear the sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Right.
Of the struggle.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that fall in that in between where it takes time to get that writing circle, to get the first, obviously a first cut, but.
And, so part of that is, it's like, what's the real question? Is it like, how long is it? Well, who knows, right?
Right.
But I think another question could be, what is it that makes you go, I've got to hang in. I've got to hang in, And that's a hard question too. But
what is that for you?
Well, the way I ask myself specifically, just do I want to be a part of music my whole life? And I do. And so no matter what it looks like, I always love just creating, and I don't think it's ever going to leave me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so whether I make it to this point or not, like right now is amazing. Like what we're doing,
it's really true.
Living in the same house, Paul and Dave, inviting friends over, and just collaborating all the time. It's super special. It's super natural, and sure, we're not like signed to publishers, but we have way more flexible time. We also don't have to write with people we don't want to write.
Yep.
With because we're just scheduled.
Yeah.
We're on a schedule.
Listen, you have no one looking over your shoulder.
I am so thankful for my journey. When I first moved to Nashville, of course I wanted to get a publishing deal. I wanted to get a record deal and go fly high in the sky. But I think the journey that I've walked of working different jobs and then going and saving my money and really now just committing full-time to it and giving it a shot, I'm really at peace about it because I can do my music the way that we want to do it, you know? And to answer your question of like, what is it that I think it's just to say that you did. At least it is for me.
Well, and it's funny, I still, but I'm talking, like 18-year-olds who go, hey, should I do this or not? And, I've said this a million times, right, William? I call it the disease. If you've got the disease, you can't help it. You just can't help it. You're gonna do it, right? And when I talk to these kids, I try to kind of determine whether or not they have the disease, right? Because if they've got the disease, they're gonna do it and anyway, and if they don't have the disease, I almost, I think the disease is necessary, because it's hard, right? It's a hard road, and
Right.
and so if the disease is not there, I almost say, you know what, still do it, just don't make it your do or die, right? But that's something only you can find out. But if you've got the disease, you're going to do it, and that's a great thing. I mean, it's a double-edged sword,
For sure.
right? But it's amazing. Are you kidding? Yes, this is fantastic, and this is the thing that I had when I lived in a house with 3 other guys on Sunset in the Vandy area when I was you guys' age, right? And so it just keeps happening, man. It's the great circle, and I love it. And not, when you're in this environment, this is your norm.
Right.
Dude, this is not the norm.
That is so
It's
true.
not the norm. Like, and when you leave, when you get outside of Nashville and you strike up a conversation with somebody, they're intrigued. They want to know more because they're like, what? You do what?
That is so true. I
yeah.
take that for granted sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I go back home every month and a half.
It's good.
Nice
Yeah,
reset.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you were talking about just your writing career when you got signed, knowing you now, obviously there's a big jump in your career. I'd like to hear about just your purpose when you were moving to Nashville and how that changed over time as you became more into the producer role too. 'Cause you were a writer, you were in a band, you went out to LA, all that stuff. What was your purpose coming into Nashville, and how have you seen that change?
Yeah. So it's weird. I talk about full circle, but yeah. So I will tell you the thing that it's funny. We have these we have these lofty perceptions of things in our head that we think we want. Like we know exactly what that is, whether it's, guitar slinger, artist, writer, or whatever, singer, songwriter, the whole thing that we go through. And that's great. But I had that too, but I didn't realize, like, I love being in the studio and making noise, man. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the process. I love trying things. I love helping other people do their thing. But my whole deal was because I grew up in the era of, singer-songwriters and, the Beatles and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. You're thinking like, man, that's what I've got to do. And that's what it looks like. Well, that's what I thought it looked like when I came to town. And then you quickly, it's like we were saying a minute ago, you realize, oh, geez, I'm not even close to half as talented as so many of these people. But so what are my strengths? And so I end up writing because I love writing. Well, what that does is that pulls me, because I love recording, I end up living in the studio of the publishing company, right? And that's where we talk about like gaining all these skills and chops and stuff. I'm bitching and moaning the whole way because you
Can't see it at the time.
and you're so broke, and you're getting like this little stipend or whatever, trying to get the big cut or whatever. But what I am doing is I was like, give me the freaking keys to this studio because I'm going to live here. And so I ended up, producing the demos for people in the studio, and then managers that I would make friends with or different people around town would start bringing their artists in, to the studio to have me do their demos. And you build, you're not only getting better at your craft, but you're building relationships with people. And then all of a sudden those artists would get signed. And in a few cases, the thing that we did would be so kind of
Close, tight.
and quirky and kind of special, right? So then the label, they would get signed and the label would go, well, man, I don't know who else could do that. So almost by default, I would finally get to start producing stuff, right?
That's why he wants us to be quirky in our music.
Yeah.
Listen, We laugh. We laugh.
I'm
but
on to you now.
You are on to me. So, and that's not a gimmick. That's not a hack.
No.
That's not, that's not like on my top 10 hack list or anything.
No.
But honestly, that's where the gold is.
It's true.
And that's a hard thing. It's hard to be vulnerable, but that's, if you're going to be transparent and vulnerable and you're going to resonate with the listener in a way that makes them go,